Welcome back to the Productivity Podcast, where I give you a daily productivity tip so you can get the most out of your time, your talent, and your ideas. I'm your host, Brandon White. Here we go. Ever find yourself working on something only to have a call come in that you just have to get, or someone knocks on your door for that quick question, or you check your email real quick, only to find it hard to get back into the flow of the thing you were working on? Today, we're reviewing 4 research studies on interruptions that look at just how long it takes to get back into the flow. And we'll wrap up with 5 tips you can put to work after finishing this episode so those interruptions don't kill your productivity. A research study titled Attention Residue in Switching Tasks, published in the Proceedings of the SIG-CHI Conference on Human Factors in Computing Systems, looked at 60 office workers from diverse fields who were proofreading text or performing math calculations. The participants worked on one of the 2 tasks for 10 minutes. They were then interrupted with an email requiring a short response, on average, about 30 seconds to respond. Then they returned to the original task for another 10 minutes. Throughout the experiment, researchers tracked task completion time, error rates, and subjective reports on attention and focus. The researchers found that, on average, it took 23 minutes and 15 seconds to gain full focus and productivity after the interruption, even for brief email checks. Participants made more errors and took longer to complete the task after the interruption, even when they reported feeling back on track. And finally, the researchers of this study noted that the attention residue effect appears to be stronger for more complex tasks. Another study titled The Cost of Interrupted Work, More Speed and Stress, published in the Proceedings of the ACM SIG-CHI Conference on Human Factors in Computing Systems, looked at 61 office workers and used eye trackers and software to log their activities. Researchers observed participants' work patterns for the entire workday, tracking task switching, interruptions, and productivity. They analyzed the time spent on tasks, task duration, and the number of interruptions encountered. They also had the participants self-report their stress levels and feelings of control throughout the day. The researchers found that, on average, participants switched tasks every 11 minutes. It took on average 64 seconds to return to the original task after an interruption. However, regaining full focus and productivity took much longer, leading to decreased efficiency and increased stress. And lastly, multitasking and frequent context switching were associated with higher stress levels and lower overall productivity. Our third study, titled The Hidden Cost of Interruptions, Qualifying the Impact on Cognitive Work, published in the Proceedings of the ACM on Human-Computer Interaction, examined the impact of interruptions on software developers. This study found interruptions significantly increased task completion time by 23% and decreased code quality, meaning more bugs. Interruptions also led to decreased job satisfaction and feeling of lack of control over their work. Interestingly enough, self-interruptions like checking personal email had similar negative effects as external interruptions. And our last study, titled Understanding the Effects of Interruptions on Attention and Task Performance, a meta-analysis published in the Journal of Occupational and Organizational Psychology, conducted a meta-analysis of over 65 previous studies on interruptions and focused attention. The researchers confirmed the negative impact of interruptions on task performance, error rates, and subjective feelings of focus. The study also identified factors like individual personality traits and the nature of the interrupted task on influencing the recovery time from distractions. Additionally, interruptions also led to decreased feelings of focus, attention, and hindered overall productivity. Lastly, this meta-analysis noted that moderating factors like personality traits and task complexity greatly influence the recovery rate from interruptions. Here's 5 things you can do to limit your interruptions. Number 1, turn off your email and anything that gives you an alert. Number 2, if possible, turn off your internet when you're working. Yeah, I know, that sounds awful, but so does adding a few hours to your day to get things done because of the interruptions. Number 3, put a do not disturb on your door, even if you work at home. Or make it a rule that when your door is closed, there can't be any interruptions. Number 4, disable your keyboard shortcuts. Being able to switch screens and windows fast makes it easy to interrupt yourself. It's easy to do for the Mac and Windows with a quick Google search of Disable My Keyboard Shortcuts. And number 5, create a mini habit that when you're working on something and are tempted to check your email, phone, or some social media site, that's your cue to remember listening to this episode and that the research shows it can take as long as 23 minutes to get back on track. Remembering that will motivate you not to click away because 23 minutes times a few interruptions a day adds up quick to a lot of lost productivity and a lot of late days at work that you can avoid. Put these tips into practice today and hit your peak productivity performance on a regular basis. Your move. Hey, real quick before you go, please remember to hit follow on your podcast player. You won't miss any episodes, and it helps support us bring you the show daily. Thanks for listening. We'll talk tomorrow.